Is it possible that you can work harder and still get nowhere? Imagine a leaking bucket. You see it? Imagine a man who fills a leaking bucket with water. He carries the bucket to the tap. He fills it. He carries it back. He checks the level. It's half full. So he thinks, I need to work harder. He goes back to the tap, fills it again, walks faster, carries more carefully, fills it right to the top. But when he gets home, it's nearly empty. He becomes frustrated. What's wrong with this bucket? So he buys a bigger bucket. Same problem. He fills it faster. Same problem. He works longer hours. Same problem. Finally, someone says to him, have you checked for the holes in your buckets? He looks underneath. There it is. A few holes underneath. The problem wasn't that he wasn't working hard enough. The problem was that he was losing what he had already earned. And that is one of the most expensive mistakes people make in life. Sometimes you don't really need more. You don't need more trips to the tap. You don't need to walk faster. You don't need to be more careful with the bucket. You need less leakage. We often assume the answer to our problems is to produce more, make more money, work more hours, get more customers, exercise harder, read more books, hire more people, sell more products. But sometimes the real question is, what am I losing that I already have? A business can have excellent sales and terrible cash flow. A factory can produce more tons and still have excessive scrap. A person can earn a good salary and remain broke. A leader can have a talented team and still have poor performance. A relationship can have love and still suffer from neglect. A person can have enormous potential and still achieve very little. The bucket is full, but it's leaking. This is something my operations experience teaches me very quickly. Imagine increasing production by 100 tons a month. Sounds fantastic. But then you discover that 30 tons are being lost through scrap, rework, poor planning, downtime, and quality failures. You don't necessarily need to produce another 100 tons. You need to stop losing the 30. That's a different mindset. Growth isn't always about adding more. Sometimes it's about stopping what's leaking. This principle applies everywhere else in our lives. Did you know that we have got our own personal bucket? Let's say you earn 30,000 bucks a month. You receive your salary, your bucket is full. Then the leaks begin. 2,000 bucks on unnecessary subscriptions. 3,000 bucks on impulse purchases. 1.5 eating out. Another 2,000 bucks on things you didn't plan for. By the end of the month, you say, I need to earn more. Maybe, but perhaps you don't need another income stream yet. Perhaps you need a bucket that doesn't leak. You cannot solve a leakage problem with a filling problem. That's a powerful distinction. A leaking problem does not necessarily require a filling solution. Do you know you've got a health bucket? Health leaks are even more deceptive. You exercise for 30 minutes, then spend the rest of the day sitting. You eat a healthy breakfast, then eat poorly all evening. You sleep well Monday to Thursday, then destroy your sleep every weekend. You make one healthy deposit and immediately make three withdrawals. Then you wonder, why are you not progressing? The problem may not be that you are doing nothing. You may simply be leaking faster than you are feeling. Do you know you have got a leadership bucket? Leaders have leaking buckets too. Imagine a manager who spends hours training his employees but then shouts at them when they make mistakes. He builds trust, then destroys it. He tells people quality matters, then ignores poor quality when production is under pressure. He tells employees to speak up, then embarrasses them when they do. He talks about accountability, but makes excuses for his favorites. The training isn't necessarily the problem, the leakage is. One destructive behavior can cancel out many constructive behaviors. That's why leadership is not only about what you add, it's also about what you stop doing. There's a relationship bucket. Relationships are probably the most obvious leaking buckets in our lives. Think about marriage. You can buy flowers, take your spouse to dinner, go on holiday, buy gifts, but if you constantly criticize, ignore, lie, or break promises, there is a hole in the bucket. And eventually someone says, I don't feel loved anymore. The other person responds, but look at everything I've done for you. That's when you discover an important principle. Activity is not the same as progress. You can be doing many things and still be losing ground. So, what is the message? The message is very clear. Find the leaking hole. So, here is the uncomfortable question. Where is your bucket leaking in your life? Don't immediately look for another strategy. Don't buy another book. Don't attend another seminar. Don't start another project. First, inspect the bucket that you got. Ask, where am I losing money? Subscriptions, impulse buys, debt, poor financial planning. Where am I losing time? Social media, television, unnecessary meetings, constant interruptions. Where am I losing energy? Poor sleep, bad eating, negative people, constant worrying. Where am I losing trust? Broken promises, poor communication, inconsistency. Where am I losing opportunities? Fear, procrastination, lack of preparation. Where am I losing production? Scrap, downtime, poor planning, rework, poor quality. The small hole. Here is the frightening thing about a leaking bucket. The hole doesn't have to be big. A tiny hole can empty a bucket if you give it enough time. That's how small bad habits work. One cigarette, one unnecessary purchase, one lie, one missed workout, one late night, one broken promise, one shortcut, one excuse. None of them looks powerful. But repetition gives small leaks enormous power. Small leaks become large losses when given enough time. So, what is the $1,000,000 question? Imagine your business as a pipe leaking 1 million worth of product every year. Would you say, let's just work harder? Of course not. You would find the leak, you would measure it, you would identify the cause, you'd fix it, you'd monitor it. Yet people often treat their personal lives differently. They know something is leaking, but instead of fixing it, they simply try to pour more into the bucket. More money, more effort, more motivation, more hours, more stress. That's exhausting and unnecessary. The invisible economy audit. Tonight, take a piece of paper and draw a bucket. At the top right, what am I trying to build? Underneath right, health, wealth, career, business, relationship, leadership, faith, personal growth. Then draw 5 holes in the bucket. Label them: time, money, energy, discipline, relationships. Now identify one leak under each. For example, time, 2 hours of unnecessary scrolling on social media. Money, 2,000 bucks of unplanned spending. Energy, sleeping too late. Discipline, constantly postponing important work. Relationships, not making time for people who matter in your life. Don't try to fix everything. Pick the biggest hole. Plug that one first. The greatest lesson: there are 2 ways to improve your results: increase what goes in it, or reduce what leaks out of it. The smartest people do both. They increase deposits and they reduce withdrawals. They don't just ask, how can I make more money? They ask, how can I stop wasting the money I already make? They don't only ask, how can I become healthier? They ask, what unhealthy habit is undoing my progress? They don't only ask, how can I become a better leader? They ask, what behavior is destroying trust in my leadership? That's the invisible economy. Your bucket is your life. Your life is a bucket. Every day something goes in. Every day something leaks out. Knowledge goes in. Ignorance leaks out. Money goes in. Waste leaks out. Trust goes in. Broken promises leak out. Health goes in. Bad habits leak out. Time goes in. Distractions leak out. The goal isn't simply to fill the bucket. The goal is to build a bucket that can hold what you can put into it. So here's my final challenge to you. Before you go to bed tonight, ask yourself this question: what am I working hard to build? Then ask the more important question: where is it leaking? Because perhaps your problem isn't that you are not working hard enough. Perhaps you've been carrying water all day, while someone forgot to tell you there's a hole in the bucket. Most folks really work hard. Don't work harder before you check for leaks. Stop measuring how much you pour in. Start measuring how much you keep. You don't always need a bigger bucket. Sometimes you need to fix the hole in the one that you have. And here is the question I want you to carry with you: what am I trying to feel that I have never stopped to inspect? Find the leak, plug it, then keep filling. Because a small bucket that holds its water will eventually outperform a giant bucket that doesn't. See you in the next video.